You guys, it's finally here. We're gonna cook. I'm so excited to share my two awesome dishes with you today. So before we get started on the miso soup, we're gonna get started on my auntie's chicken katsu. It's pretty much a breaded chicken, which you can find all over the world, but this one is special. It's from Hawaii, it's local, and I grew up eating it, so I love it. It's crispy, tender, yummy. First, we're gonna get started with our dry ingredients here. You're gonna get 3 dishes, lay them out to make it easy for you. We're gonna do an assembly line to cook the chicken. First, we're gonna start with the flour and just put enough to coat the bottom of your dish, about a cup or so. And then I'm gonna take panko breadcrumbs, which are Japanese breadcrumbs. You can find them anywhere really. I mean, not just the Japanese market, but your local market. They're good, they're crispy. It makes everything so good when they're fried. You can't replace this stuff. All right, and then I'm gonna coat this third dish over here because in the middle, we're gonna put eggs. So let's close these jars up here. I'm gonna stick this right behind me out of the way. Okay, and then we're gonna head to the refrigerator. Over here, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my chicken. It's a boneless, skinless chicken breast and some eggs for that wash, the egg wash. Close that. Got my nice chicken. Okay, so actually I'm gonna go ahead and whisk up the eggs first so that we have everything ready to go before we pound that chicken. Okay. So first I'm gonna do probably about 3 eggs in here. Depends on how much you're cooking. So I'm gonna make 1 breast tonight because, well, we're doing a show and I'm making it for myself. But if you're gonna entertain for people, make as much as you need. The great thing about this dish is that it's super simple. If you drop a shell, it's fine, pick it up. It's super simple and it's really a crowd pleaser. People think that you've slaved away in the kitchen even though you did it for, I don't know, we're gonna say 10 minutes to make this. I know, it's crazy. So I'm gonna get a whisk here and we're just gonna whisk up the eggs. Super yummy. So people ask me, should I be seasoning the flour? Should I be seasoning the breadcrumbs? There's no need for that. We're gonna do it right before we put it in all of these little dishes here, so it'll be good to go, really nice. And then, this is one of my favorite things ever. We're gonna go ahead and grab the chicken breast and pound it. Now, we wanna get it nice and flat. It'll be more tender, but also, you know, it's gonna cook a little quicker. So I kind of like to have it pretty thin, not too thin where it's like you're just eating paper, but you wanna be able to cook it quickly, taste the chicken. So I'd say about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, probably 1/2 inch. And make sure you get all the air out of the chicken, okay? Because if you have air in here and you're pounding it, you're just gonna make a balloon and it's gonna explode. And we don't want chicken all over you. Okay, so got that out, close the bag here. And this is the fun part. After a long day of work, your boss is frustrating you, your husband or wife is frustrating you, whatever, your kids are annoying you, you come to the chicken and you just start beating it. So I'm using this mallet here. If you don't have one of these at home, that's totally fine. You can use a rolling pin, like so. I have one over here just in case. You can use a rolling pin or whatever you have. I mean, I've seen my friends use hammers. So whatever you can do. And we're gonna flatten this. It's a bit loud, but that's okay. Enjoy it. This is usually the time I blast my music. And I also flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And look, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you have it, like, if it looks crazy to you, it probably is gonna taste better. So just so you know, I actually am pregnant. Yes, I'm pregnant. So eating raw things isn't really an option for me. So everything I'm doing is cooked. But one thing that I can't stand while pregnant is actually chicken. So it's so funny that we're making this dish today because it's literally one of the only chickens that I love eating right now. And it's fried, it's yummy, and I can eat this probably every day. I don't know if I should, but I love it. So like I said, I like to do decadence with a little bit of healthy. So we're gonna put this on a bed of salad so we can feel really good about ourselves living here in Los Angeles. Or wherever you are, really. Okay, so I'm gonna take the chicken out of the bag here. And then we're gonna season it with salt and pepper. I always like to use kosher salt, but whatever you have in your pantry, feel free to use that. And fresh ground pepper. And then make sure that after you use all these chicken items that you wash everything really well. And season it really good, because something that people forget to do is season their meats really well. That's where all the flavor comes out of. And you have to do it in the beginning, because if you're just adding salt at the end, it's like, it's not the same. You know, it doesn't get in there. Okay. It's so funny, when I've been cooking a lot lately, and I'll be like doing something, and then the belly gets in the way, and I'm like, oh, and it stops me. And then when I'm done cooking, I'll have like all this flour and egg wash all over my clothes. It's really fun for laundry night. Okay, so that looks really good. I did heat the oil a little bit earlier. I used some vegetable oil and put it in a pan. I'd say about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, but you want to make sure that the oil is at a good level so that the chicken's not touching the bottom there and burning. You want it to float a bit. So I think we're good. It feels pretty hot. I always like to test it before I dump it in there. So let's just get some panko breadcrumbs, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a few in here. Oh yeah, perfect sizzle. Not too cold, not too hot. We're ready to go. Okay, so I've seasoned the chicken, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the flour first. And you wanna make sure you coat both sides really well, but you don't want big chunks of it. So remove any of the excess flour afterwards. And then putting it in egg wash is important, but you wanna make sure that you're not making an omelet. So you're gonna put it in the egg wash, but you don't wanna like have such a thick layer that you're just gonna have egg everywhere. So you just wanna do a quick little, make sure it gets coated everywhere, and get that off as well. And then we're gonna put it in the panko breadcrumbs. This is where all the crunch comes from. And so, yeah, look, there are fried chicken dishes all over the world, we know this. But what makes this chicken really unique is that this chicken is a local favorite. The panko breadcrumbs are that Asian little vibe it gives to it. It originated in Japan, so we'll go ahead and lay it in the oil, like so. Perfect. Let me just rinse my hand off. And it originated in Japan, but in Hawaii, they've really turned this chicken dish into a local favorite, serving it with rice and potato macaroni salad, or you can serve it on a salad like I do it. My family also likes to put it in a sandwich, and we use our own homemade coleslaw, which I'll show you another time. And we also have done it, I like it in the morning actually. The next day I put it in the oven, and then I put some eggs on top, over easy eggs. It's pretty good. All right, and I'm gonna get started on a little sauce that we're gonna put on top of the chicken katsu. It's called Tonkatsu Sauce. If you don't have this stuff, or you're not near a Japanese market, don't even worry, because there's 2 simple ingredients that go into making this sauce, and you're gonna die. I'm gonna go ahead and grab ketchup. Here we go. And my Worcestershire sauce. Yep, most people can't say that. I had to look it up. Google taught me. It's really hard, and it's very deceiving, this name. Okay, so I will go ahead and grab my little bowl here. And I'd say put about 1/4 cup of ketchup here, depending on how much you need. And then a little bit of Worcestershire, about a teaspoonish. So I grew up kind of just like, I don't measure a lot. I like to taste as I go. That's something that my family does. They also love to bake. So with baking, you can't do that. But with cooking, it's awesome. You just taste and you go. And if you like it, you eat it. And if you need to change it, you add something else. So mix that up. That's pretty good actually. But I'm gonna give it a little more tang, so we add more Worcestershire sauce here. And I'll stir it up. So my auntie used to make this dish for us as kids, and we all sit around our little kid table, and we'd fight over how much sauce we get because she'd only make a certain amount. I don't even know why. Like, ketchup is endless and it's not too expensive, but she would be like, okay, so you each get 1 spoonful. And then my cousin was like 5 years older than me, so he got 2. It didn't make any sense at all. But now I get to make my own sauce at home, and when she comes over, I let her have as many spoonfuls as she like. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the chicken now. It's looking like it's pretty good. I'm using tongs, but whatever works for you at home, a spatula, even chopsticks, whatever is easiest. Again, you want it pretty crispy and brown, so let me turn it up just slightly here. And then we're gonna save this sauce for later. But again, you don't want this chicken to get too browned and crispy on the outside, because then it's like, it just won't taste good. It's gonna like hit the top of your mouth and give you scratches, and it won't be very good. But what I love to do with this is make it probably once a week, because my husband feels like, hey, she's making me an awesome fried meal, but I also put on a bed of salad, so then he's eating it pretty healthy. And then I also do a chicken katsu that goes really well with the side of this miso soup that we're going to make in the future here. And the miso soup is to die for. But what I love about it is I'm going to show you a shortcut, and you can add whatever you want to it to make it your own. So as this chicken is finishing up here, we're going to put it on some paper towels, let the oil soak up. We're gonna slice it up, and then we're gonna put it on top of our salad with the sauce. All right, guys, so when you get back, we're gonna go ahead and start that miso soup. It's gonna be super delicious, super yummy, and I'm just gonna finish cooking up this chicken, and I will see you in a few. Okay, we're back, and we are just about finishing our chicken katsu. It is looking delicious, a little bit golden brown, crispy, just how I like it, and I'm used to. So I'll go ahead and take this, and we're just gonna stick it over here. Let's turn that stove off. I'm gonna stick it on a plate with some paper towels just to let the oil kind of absorb, and then let it cool down before we put on our salad, because we don't need cooked lettuce. Okay, and now I'm gonna get started over here with our miso soup. We've been having the water boil for a little bit just to get it warmed up. I'm gonna go ahead and grab, let's see, mushrooms, a scallion. I'm gonna come back here. So the great thing about my miso soup is it's kind of a shortcut to what my mother made for me growing up, for me and my brother. I can't forget him, sorry. But what's so awesome is that this miso soup that I buy in the store, in the Japanese markets, also has dashi in it. Dashi is actually a stock, a soup stock, that already has seaweed and a fish in it. It has a great, great flavor, but it takes a long time to make. So the great thing about this miso soup is that I bought something that has the miso and the dashi all combined into one, because I'm all about convenience as a mother and a wife. And now we're gonna put this into the boiling water, and pretty much our soup base is all done. So I'm gonna go over here towards the water. We do have about 4 cups of water boiling, and it is looking pretty good here. And for however many amount of cups you have, that's how many tablespoons of this miso dashi you put in. So I'll put 4. And you also just want like a really good color in it. So let's be honest, I use really heaping spoonfuls because I like my miso with a little more flavor and a little saltiness to it. My husband never grew up eating this way because A, he's not from Hawaii and he's not Japanese, but I started cooking for him this miso soup. He would get off work a little bit late, and look, I don't have time to cook for him all the time. It'd be like 9 p.m. So I would go ahead and make this miso soup, and whatever I had lying in my refrigerator, that's what I would throw in. I'm not kidding. So if you want to make it hearty, put some rice in there. It actually tastes really good. My mom used to do that for me when I was sick, and I don't know if it's the placebo effect of miso soup, but I think I got better a lot quicker. Okay, and so what I am going to put into the miso soup are some scallions and some mushrooms. You can use any mushrooms that you have lying around the house. It's just up to you, or at the market, your local market. So I love shiitake. I love some called nameko mushrooms, which are these little Japanese mushrooms. You can use crimini, bella mushrooms, whatever works for you. It just gives it a little bit of like a meatier texture to it, especially since we're not putting any meat in there. So I'll go ahead and cut up my scallion here and put it to the side. Okay. And then once it starts heating up a little bit more, we can put the scallions in, and it actually flavors the miso soup. It adds that like onion flavor to it. I like to slice up my scallions a little bit thicker because I really like to taste them and the crunch of them when I'm eating them in the soup. So there have been a few times where, hey, I don't have scallions lying around, or I don't have a green onion that I can stick in there, so I've used just regular old onions. Or if I'm feeling adventurous, put a garlic in it. I mean, garlic makes everything good too. And then I'll go ahead and cut the mushrooms up now as we wait for them to heat up. So like I said, you can use whatever mushrooms you have in your fridge. You can also use the nameko mushroom. Let's put both, okay? Because we want texture, we want it to taste good. Why not? Let's use everything we have in our fridge. And something that's really cool about this dish is it's simple to make and something that I can give to my child as well. He's a little baby, but these days it's like everybody wants to feed, or every parent wants to feed their kid what's on their plate because they should get used to it. And my kid, I want him to have a very, I don't know, cultured palate, I would say. So I go ahead and give him a little taste of everything that I'm eating. We actually just got back from Hawaii a couple weeks ago, and he had his first taste of papaya fruit. And he loved it so much, and he was like, does the baby sign language, more? He's like, more, more, more. And I was like, okay, but after a while I was like, you can't have that much papaya. But he loves it. So I got a little local boy on my hands. I'm very happy. And I'll go ahead and cut these mushrooms up. Look, you can cut the mushrooms small if you like to eat little bits. I like a bigger size slice because I like that hearty, meaty texture. So I'll go ahead and do that. And so my husband would come home sometimes, and I literally had nothing in the fridge but dashi miso and some vegetables. So that's what he got for dinner, because I do have water out of my sink. So I'd heat up the water, add some of this miso soup, and then I remember a few times I put in carrots. I had some leftover rice from like the night before, and I actually did put in meat that time. I had a little bit of chicken. So I just cut that up and put that in. And I would just give this a rough chop here. You can put the stems in too. It's super yummy. Some people don't put the stems in. I don't care. I think it tastes good. And we're going to go ahead and let's just put the onions in. I'll walk over here. Put the green in there. Go ahead and whisk this up a little bit. Oh yeah, and you can tell by the coloring here that this miso is really coming together. I'm gonna turn down this heat a bit because now it just needs to be low. So you want it this nice opaque color. If it's too clear, you know you don't have enough flavor. And if it's a little too dark, you know that it's probably just a salty soup, so you need to put some water in there. But it's all to taste, you know. I'm gonna go ahead and add these mushrooms as well because I can. And I'll put them all in there. And it actually starts to look really, really pretty as well. I really like it. And that way the mushrooms can cook down a little bit. You're not, if you add it too late in the game, it just makes it hard. And so you want them a little bit softened up there. Okay, guys, I have to save every ounce here, right? Because we have it in our kitchen. Okay. Now I'm going to get started on the tofu. So you don't really need a whole lot of tofu since I'm only doing about 4 cups here. I'm going to do a half of a block. There are so many different types of tofu out there. I'm not kidding. There's like so many different types. So you can buy them already like fried and cooked with a hard shell on the outside. You can get it firm. You can get it medium. You can get it soft. I like the silky, soft tofu when I cook in this miso soup because you want that texture to be smooth and creamy when it hits your mouth. If I'm cooking a stir fry, I would use a firmer one or one that has a kind of a crispier outside. So I'll probably just do a half cube here. And you got to handle it with care because it's soft. I'm going to show you how easy it is. You can just like mush it in your hands like that. So you want to handle it with care if you're going to keep the integrity of the shape here. I like to go ahead and just go right across halfway, and then I just do little cubes. So I'll show you here. Just right across. Look how smooth that is. It's like butter. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and just slice it like that. Look, you can make any size cube you want. I like them like not too big. But it's up to you. It's all preference, right? And then we can go ahead and put this tofu also in the soup to let it warm up a bit. It won't disintegrate. I mean, if you leave it in there for hours, it will. But if you just put it in now, it'll be nice and warm and good. So we'll add this in. I just kind of sprinkle it throughout. So actually, I did give my baby the tofu because I make all of his food. Can you believe that? He is so lucky. I used to get the jar stuff, which I think is still good, and everything's organic now, but I make him his own food every single day, and tofu is one of his favorites. So in order to give it a little extra flavor, I'll do it with a nice sweet potato mash or a green bean on top, and I think he loves it. He eats the whole thing. Okay, so we have that going there. I think it's time to just grab a couple of eggs in the refrigerator. So a little trick that my mom used to do, which made the soup everything, is she would drop an egg in there. And each of us would get 1 egg in our little dish of soup and go crazy. I'd always be like, can I just get 2 eggs? She's like, no, you get 1. I don't know what it is about my family. They want to limit you so you're excited about it every single time. And so the trick is you're kind of poaching the egg inside the soup. And then that flavor of the soup just adds so much to the egg. It's incredible. And when you get it, I like it when it's a little more runny. Because I'm pregnant, I cook it a little bit more, the egg. But it just adds so much flavor to the soup as well once it starts running inside of it. I just love it. I die. And then I like to crack them inside of a little dish here because it's kind of hard. If you just crack it and throw it in, it's going to become a big old mess. If you do it and kind of slide them in, it kind of keeps the egg shape, if you will. Oh, I'm stronger than I think I am. Okay, so I got my 2 eggs here. I'm going to walk it over to my miso soup. And here's when I turn it up a little bit more again because I just want it to get a nice heat going. And then I'm just going to slowly slide them in. And don't worry, we'll dig for them afterwards with the ladle and we'll be eating the eggs. Okay. So now I'm going to grab my plates and we're going to start cutting up the chicken, putting it over that nice bed of green salad because we're healthy-ish here, right? Okay, got my plate. I'm also going to grab a bowl for soup. I grabbed the pretty bowl because I like pretty things to look at. And I have a bowl here of mixed greens. You can use whatever greens you want. You can use as much as you want, as little as you want. I like a nice full plate of salad when I'm eating with this chicken. I just think it kind of adds that cooling effect and crunch and that nice healthy flavoring to it when you're eating a fried chicken with tonkatsu. So I'll go ahead and grab some of this. But whatever you have in your fridge, again, I mean romaine lettuce, just regular green lettuce, it doesn't even matter. Red lettuce, butter lettuce, it's all good. Arugula. I've even used a cabbage because cabbage is really good at absorbing oil. So when you put the chicken katsu on top of cabbage, it absorbs it and it gets the flavor out of it. It tastes really, really good together. It's actually perfect for plating at parties. So if I do a whole thing of chicken katsu, I will cut it up and put it on a bed of cabbage and then a sauce on the side, and it absorbs it and people eat the cabbage with it. It's to die. And then I'm keeping this dressing simple because there's going to be lots of flavor in the chicken and the tonkatsu sauce. So we're going to come over here and grab our sesame oil. For those of you who don't cook with sesame oil, it's an incredible treasure. Sesame oil is nutty, it's warm, it's flavorful, and it's like got so much more flavor than the olive oil. So you don't need a lot. You can just do a little bit of a drizzle, add some lemon on top to give it that tang, and kind of that citrus will cut through it. And it's seriously one of my favorite dressings. If I go to work and I'm in my car and I don't have time, I just bring a little sesame oil and a lemon wedge, and that's my salad that I eat in the car. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just drizzle a little bit. Like I said, a little goes a long way here. And you can smell it. I mean, it smells really good. I add this to a lot of my dishes, and it kind of gives it that Asian flavor, and people think like, wow, what did she put into this sauce or this amazing dressing? Sesame oil, that's what I put into it. And then we're gonna go ahead and take this lemon here, and I'm gonna squeeze a little bit on here, and then I'm gonna do a garnish to make it look pretty, because you gotta make things look nice. Even if it doesn't take a long time, you still gotta do that. So I cut the lemon, and I kinda just hold underneath because I don't like seeds in my food. And I don't wanna sit here and pick it out, it takes too long. So I just hold my hand as like a strainer, squeeze the lemon, and you're good to go. And then we'll just do a nice little slice here of the lemon. I'll put that on top of the chicken to make it look pretty later. And why not? Just cut a little piece here to make it look pretty on the salad as well. Okay, so I'll set those aside, and now I'm gonna grab my chicken over here. You can see all the oil has been absorbing, which, like I said, if you wanna put it on that cabbage, why not? It's super yummy, keeps that flavor. Okay. I know at home you guys don't have a trash to just like put it under your sink, but I actually invented a drawer at home that I turned into a trash can, and so I can pull out this drawer, and while I'm cooking, I just dump everything in it. It saves so much time, it's amazing. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and just slice this chicken now. Oh yeah, looking good. You can slice as thin as you want. I kind of like them a little thicker still. Like, I want to work at it, take bites of it while I'm eating it. But just be careful because you want to keep that crust on it, that crunchy, yummy panko crust that we used. And you know what's so cool is after that first salt and pepper seasoning, we don't have to season it anymore. It's that flavorful and that delicious. Okay. So I don't know if you guys want to see it really quick, but I'll just show you. It's cooked perfect. It looks good. It's about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. That's how I do it, on a medium-high heat, depending on your stove, of course. Okay, that's good to go. And then let me put the sauce on. You gotta have the sauce. Here's my tonkatsu sauce that I made with the ketchup and Worcestershire. So yummy, so tangy. Just adds a little extra zhuzh. You know, you gotta have that. And there we go. Oh, I love it already. Okay, and then I'm gonna put the lemon on top just to make it look cute. I'm gonna bring this over here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my miso soup. Don't forget my bowl here, and my ladle. The egg should be cooked perfectly. I did it a little bit longer than a couple minutes because, you know me, being pregnant, I gotta cook that egg a little more. But you wanna get a little bit of everything. So first I've gotta find the egg. Once I find the egg, that goes in first, of course. And because my mom only gave me one growing up, I'm gonna put 2 in. So I got some of that tofu, the mushrooms, scallions, and of course that yummy, delicious soup. Oh, it smells so good. People try to buy miso soup at the market, or I'm sorry, at the restaurant all the time when you can just go to the market and make it yourself. It's perfect and easy. So easy, guys. Here we are. Oh, I love it. Everyone's gonna be obsessed with this dish.